Do you wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you make a choice? How hard are you trying to get everything in your life right? What if jumping in and getting messy is one of the ways to find out what works for you? Discover how being willing to mess up can create the phenomenal life you truly desire. Get ready to quit judging and start embracing all of your messy adventures. Now, here's your host, self-declared messy living expert, Petrina Fava.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm Petrina Fava, your host. Welcome. It is currently, as we're doing this show, January the 2nd. It's the first show of 2017. It's our first show on the Inspired Choices Network. How does it get even better than this? Thank you so much to everyone at the Inspired Choices Network for creating this awesome new platform. Christine, the owner, Rhonda, Carol, Keisha, all the producers, so grateful to you. I'm excited to be here, excited to play, and excited to step up and create something even greater with this new platform this year. Yay! So, here is a little bit about Messy Adventures in Living. If you're new to the show, if you're just listening for the first time, this is a place where you get to play with me and I get to invite you to get messy. I know all about getting messy. I invite you to get messy with your choices. What if you didn't have to wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight in your life before you made a choice? What if you were willing to mess up? How much more could that create for you in your life if you were willing to get things wrong, if you were willing to not be perfect, if you were willing to just screw up? How much is the need for perfection and the need to be right limiting you and creating your life way smaller than it has to be? So that's what you get invited to when you come here to Messy Adventures in Living Radio on Inspired Choices. So I'm Petrina, and here's some things about me. I am a mom of 3 kids. They are 12 and a half, turning 13 soon, turning 10 very soon, and 6. They are amazing little beings, although they're not little at all, who show me every day all of the places where I can create something greater for myself, for us as a family, and for the world. Actually, they're an amazing source of inspiration, and I'm so grateful for them. I'm a registered nurse. I work in pediatrics in a pediatric hospital here in Toronto. Again, an amazing source of inspiration. Cool how I've surrounded myself by a lot of inspiration. Nice choice, Petrina. So amazing place to be inspired to choose greater, to step out of victim, to step out of bullshit, to step out of lies. I have had the honor and privilege to care for so many families over the last 19 years who show me every day that happiness is a choice, that it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. You can still choose to be happy. You can still choose to create something greater. I have a good example of someone who did that from his hospital bed that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So that's another area of my life that I play in. I am the owner of Naturally Happy Body. It's a business, a company that I started playing in my kitchen, making some handmade body products. I started off doing this for fun, doing it for my own body because it was just yummy, and it literally created itself. That choice created a business. It was great. So Naturally Happy Body you can find at my website, petrinafava.com. If you're interested in some 100% natural products for your body, I make all kinds of things: lotions, lip balms, soaps, scrubs. Oh, the scrubs are so good. They're my favorite product. Anyways, that's Naturally Happy Body. I'm actually also an Access Consciousness bars and body process facilitator. I discovered these very weird, very cool, and very effective tools about 7 years ago now, and started using them to make changes in my life and to create greater in my life. And now I would like to teach them. They're fun, and we'll talk about them a little bit on this show. If you haven't heard of Access, you can go to accessconsciousness.com and find out some information about it there. I'm also an author. I have contributed chapters in 3 different books. One of them is called Creations, Conscious Fertility, Conception, Pregnancy, and Birth. The other one is called Possibilities in Parenting, and my chapter there is Toolbox for Bullied Kids, where I offer some very different, out-of-the-box tools to empower your kids to know that they are awesome no matter what anybody says, and also some tools that they can use to change absolutely anything that is not working for them. And my third book that I contributed a chapter in is also very cool. I love it. It's called The Power of Releasing Judgment. So I've become so aware over the last few years of how judgment infiltrates our lives in such a sneaky way that we don't even notice. And as you go about your day and your week and your month and your year releasing all of these judgments and not functioning from judgments anymore, the ability to create something greater in your life and to choose possibilities becomes so much clearer. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. What are we talking about today? So, when is my book being published in the chat room? Yes, it's there. It's that creation is bubbling. I love to write, actually. I have loved to write since I was a young child, and I know that I have a book coming. Actually, I know I have several books coming. They are rolling around in my awareness, getting created as we speak. I will let you know when it's ready. So you can join us in the chat room if you're wondering who I'm talking to. If you look at the top of your screen, there's a little chat room link. You can click on it and log in with a name. It's fun to play in here. You can type questions and comments and just play with us. And you can call in using any of the numbers on the Inspired Choices Network site. In the U.S., it's 815-880-8255, and in Canada, it's 613-800-8736. Okay, I'm talking fast because I want to get to the topic. So, it's a brand new year. Happy 2017, you guys. So this time, no hoping, okay? No wishing. You're not a Disney princess. Get out there and get choosing. Guess what? Choice creates. What do you know is possible, and what choices can you make to create that? What will your choices create this year? Are you trying hard to get life right? What if you didn't have to get it right? What if you could just choose? So here's the deal. When I first heard this concept that everything was a choice, I got pissed off. I was like, you know what? Shut up. Everything is not just a choice. I didn't choose all these awful things that happened to me in my life. Not that I have had an awful life at all, actually. But when I heard this idea that everything is a choice, everything, I'm talking about everything. All of the things in your life that you think happen to you, that you have no ability to control. I was pissed when I heard this concept. And it actually sparked the chapter in my first book, Creations, Conscious Fertility, Conception, Pregnancy, and Birth. So what happened was I was taking a course in Reiki. I was becoming a Reiki practitioner. And soon after, I was about to take another course with the same person about manifestation, about manifesting, creating things in your life. And so we were talking a lot about how you create your own life and that everything is your creation, everything is your choice. And very shortly after I did my Reiki course, I was pregnant during the time, very early on in my pregnancy, and I had a miscarriage at 9 weeks. And so just as I was learning about choice and just as I was learning about creating my own reality, this thing happened. And I had never had anything like this happen to me before. I had had two previously beautifully healthy pregnancies with two beautiful girls that were born. Pregnancy was easy for me. It was exciting. I loved it. So this miscarriage slammed me. It slammed me. And I got more and more pissed off with all of the things I had just learned about creating your own life and creating your own reality. I was like, no, screw you. I did not create this. Why would I create this? And interestingly, it was right around the time that I was introduced to Access. My brother had learned about it in Korea. He had moved to Korea to create something different in his life, and started talking to me about asking questions in order to create your life, and that everything is a choice, and that I could choose something different. And so once I got over being pissed off and started to embrace and entertain this idea of choice, now I know that choice is actually the most powerful tool in my hand, that I'm actually not at the effect of this reality. I'm not at the effect of anything. Nothing happens to me. Nothing just happens. And if I think something just happens, I can actually make a choice in a different direction. I see it at the hospital that I work all the time. I see what people choose, and I see when some people choose to go down the rabbit hole of sickness and dying, especially with children, and I see families who are faced with extremely uncomfortable situations where children have these crazy rare illnesses and are dying or are suffering physically, and I see that some people choose happiness. They choose to honor the child's life. They choose to create happiness despite their circumstances, or not even despite. See, that word is not even really, the energy on that word is not really, it's not it. I watch people choose happiness even when their circumstances are not so happy. So, choice creates. So, it's the new year. What is coming up for you around choice? We're hearing a lot about resolutions, hoping and wishing. So you talk to people, you're on social media, you're on the phone, you're on the radio. How much have you heard, I wish the best for you this coming year? Let's hope that 2017 is better than 2016. Let's hope for health and happiness. I wish you health and happiness. And when I read all of this, it's not that it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong at all, except I know there's something else. How about you? What do you know? Do you know that there's something else besides hoping and wishing and dreaming? Yes, there's choosing. So, Cinderella, did you guys ever watch Disney Cinderella? And there's a very famous quote that if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. And I don't hate this, but I know that it's not exactly right. If you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. And I think the underlying message there is don't give up. Never give up believing. Never give up believing in your dreams. Except that phrase exactly has an enormous energy of just waiting, right? And even the story of Cinderella, it has so much energy of waiting. Here she is. She's, a slave to her sisters and her mother, and she talks to nature, and she dreams of something else. And then her magical bibbidi bobbidi boo, fairy godmother appears and waves her magic wand and gives her a beautiful dress and beautiful shoes and a coach, and she goes and she dances with the prince, and it's all very magical. Except what if that's not magic? Right? What if the magic is in your hands? What if you don't have to wait for your fairy godmother to bibbidi bobbidi boo you in the directions of your dreams, right? What if you can choose? So yes, so what if we replace believing and hoping and dreaming? What if we replace that with knowing? What do you know is possible? What do you know is possible, right? And we're calling that our dream. It's okay, but it's not exactly it, because a dream is something that we dream of when we go to sleep. The underlying message is that maybe it's not really real, right? Our dreams, when we go to sleep and we dream, most people would say that those dreams are not real. You fall asleep and you can dream of anything, but they're not. But then you wake up and you come back to reality. So what happens when that thing that you know is possible is called a dream? What happens when you're calling what you know you can create in the world a dream? What happens to it? What's the energy? The energy is different. What do you know is freaking possible to create? What do you know you can create? It's a very different energy than what are you dreaming of? Do you get that? What are you dreaming of? Oh, what are you dreaming of out there in the place that's not real? So everywhere you have misidentified and misapplied what you know is possible and what you know you can create as your dreams, will you please destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, so that collection of words that I just said is called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. It's a tool in Access that we use that changes the energy of something that we're talking about. So as we talk about something, some energy comes up for you around it, and the idea is that the clearing statement can get at all of the places where we decided things were right, that thing was wrong, that it was good for us, that it was bad for us, and goes to the place where we created that point of view as a limitation and destroys it, okay? So you can find out more about what all of it means. We're not going to get into it at theclearingstatement.com. It actually has its own website. You don't have to know what it means for it to work. Just know that it works. We're going to use it on this show. Okay. So we're going to go to break. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to address something in the chat room. So thanks for listening so far. We are going to go to break, and then we're going to come right back. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on the Inspired Choices Network. We're talking about choice. What will your choices create?
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava, and today our show is 2017 because it just happens to be at this particular moment, January 2nd, 2017, What Will Your Choices Create? So if you're listening in June or August, this totally applies. And, you know, I had this awareness the other day about the energy of New Year's. I was standing actually in church, and the priest was talking about New Year's and a new time, a new slate, a clean slate, a time to start over, a time to let go of 2016. And I was like, but wait, what, how often, like how many times have we done this where it's the beginning of the year and we're excited to start over, and we create New Year's resolutions, or we it doesn't matter if you don't, but you decide that this is going to be different this year, is going to be amazing, and I'm going to choose something different this year, and then you find that in the 3 weeks or the four weeks into January, that energy kind of fizzles out. Right? And so I was like, well, what is that? Like, why is that? And I think, because New Year's, the whole thing of New Year's being a clean slate and a fresh start is kind of a lie. It's not exactly a lie. It's just that it's not the whole truth. Like, you don't have to wait until now 2018, right? So here we are, it's the beginning of the year of 2017, and then maybe by March or April you're feeling like crap again, you don't feel like you can create, you don't feel excited about life, you don't feel excited going into the new year. Maybe some things have happened that you have decided are bad things, negative things. You've judged yourself for not holding on to your resolution, so now you're in a slump, by April or May. The thing is, you don't have to wait now until the next January to start over, because actually you can choose something new every day. Did you know that? Did you know that you can choose to let go of yesterday anytime, any minute? You can choose it right now. You don't have to wait for a new year. You don't have to wait for a new year to make another choice. You can let go of yesterday. You can choose something different every hour if you want, every minute, every second. New choice is actually available to you anytime, all the time. You can choose something new all the time. You don't have to wait for New Year's. So what if you could have this New Year energy every day of the year and not just at the beginning of the year, right? You can. You have to choose it. And one of the ways to choose it is to ask for it. So everything that does not allow us to have this energy, this new year, start over, let go of yesterday, clean slate, start a new energy every single day, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 60 seconds every minute. Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. It's not true that this energy is only at the beginning of the year. You can have it any time. You need to choose it. You need to create it for yourself. You don't need to just sit here and wait for it. It's easy at the beginning of the year, right? Because everyone's got this energy going. So it's kind of easier to just bask in it, right? It's all around us. But you can actually have it anytime. You need to create it. You need to choose it. You need to ask for it. So speaking of asking, we have a question in the chat room. So here's the thing. Questions are empowering, right? They open doors to possibility. When you ask a question, you can now see all of the possibilities that you maybe didn't know were there before when you were not asking questions. We don't learn to ask questions in this reality, right? Nobody really encourages us to ask questions. And if they do, the point of asking a question is to get an answer. We function a lot from conclusion. We learn to make conclusions from when we are very small children about the world around us. We learn to make conclusions. We are told things. We have conclusions projected at us of the world around us. They're not true. They're all lies. They are all lies. They're lies. And we know this because the conclusions that I had projected at me are different than the conclusions or the what I was taught about the way the world is different for somebody who lives in, Scandinavia and is different for somebody who lives in Africa. The judgments that I grew up with, that I learned to be truths, are different judgments and truths that someone else, maybe in another culture, another part of the world, grew up with to be known as truth, right? So then, which one of them is true? None of them. They're lies. It's just something that you've taken on. So the thing is that questions can empower you to see all of the possibilities and then make a choice. So the question in the chat room is, what would it take to just ask? And how often do we not ask for what we desire? Say it's, the energy of a New Year's resolution is exactly that. It's not an ask, right? You're not asking for something to show up that you know is possible. You're resolving. You're deciding. And we're going to go into the definition of that actually in a minute. But it's not an ask. A resolution is not an ask. It's not a request. It's not a question. So the question in the chat room is who is listening when I ask? And who decides to give when I ask? So, did you grow up very religious? And did you learn to pray? And so, I did. I grew up Catholic and learned to pray, to ask God for something. And, God is this all-powerful, all-knowing, greater than me being. And I have to ask him for something. And he gives it to me if he so sees fit, and doesn't give it to me if he doesn't see fit. And the idea is that God is all-knowing, and that, some of you may not understand why he doesn't give us certain things, but he knows what's best for us, right? So what if all of that you learned about religion and God being much greater than you and giving to you as he sees fit, and you need to wait to see what God is going to give you. And all that energy of deserving versus not deserving, And is he listening? Is he not listening? Waiting for him to give you what you ask for. All of that energy, everywhere you bought that as the absolute truth and locked that into your body, and everywhere that's limiting you from choosing because you're waiting for it to be given to you by God, will you please destroy and uncreate all that? Okay, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So please understand, I am not making God wrong. I like God. God's cool. The thing is that when we buy this as absolute truth, it becomes a limitation. It stops us. And in this case, is it stopping you from choosing? Is it stopping you from asking because maybe you don't feel like you deserve to ask for something, or maybe it takes the power right out of your hands. So who is listening when you ask? The thing is, when you ask and you put the question out there, we can call it the universe. And, it doesn't mean that if we call it the universe, it doesn't mean that it's different from God, right? So is there still some energy of waiting for the universe? Is the universe greater than you? Like, are you making the universe greater than you? And are you giving the power over to the universe to know what's best for you? Again, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but if you're holding on to this as a core belief, then it could be limiting you from choosing and from having the power in your own hands. So everywhere you're making the universe greater than you, and everywhere you're waiting for the universe to bestow your dreams upon you, will you please destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all that choice, boys and beyond. So what happens when you ask? So when I first learned about Access, I was asking this exact question to my brother when he was telling me about these tools, and I had just had a miscarriage and was trying hard to get pregnant again. And so I was first of all, I was pissed off at my body. I was mad at my body as hell. I had such an energy of betrayal towards my body. I was like, what the fuck? How could you do this to me? We had 2 beautiful pregnancies. We don't have miscarriages, body. Where the hell did you get this from? When he was telling me about ask a question, like ask your body what would it take to be pregnant again, actually one of the first question he asked me that kind of was a slam question was, does your body want to be pregnant again? And I was like, what the hell kind of a stupid ass question is that? I want to be pregnant. What does my body have to do with it? So when I was asking, so then he was like, okay, ask some questions like, body, what would it take? What do you require? So then I was like, okay, so body, what do you require? What would it take? Like, what can I do for you so that we can get pregnant? And so in my head, I was like, what do you need, body? Like, better food? Am I eating wrong? Like, okay, fine, I'll eat more vegetables. Like, what else? What else do you need? Like, maybe should I rest? Should I take time off work? So I was asking a question and looking for an answer. And that's not the tool. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not the kind of questioning I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is asking a question and leaving it. Not leaving it for the universe to hear necessarily. Just leaving it open. Do you know what I'm saying? Ask the question to open the door. And then just shut up for a minute and go on your day. And eventually you will have some awareness of a different possibility that can show up in order for you to create what you're asking for. But if you never ask, how can you receive? Right? So who are you asking? There is no who, because there's no separation. And even if you're asking God, and even if you're asking the universe, have you decided that you're separate from God? Have you decided that you're separate from the universe? You're not. So when you're asking the universe, you're asking yourself. You're putting the energy out there. You're putting the energy of openness to receive out there when you're asking a question. What would it take to be pregnant? That's it. Here's an open invitation, universe. Universe, which by the way is also me. Here's an open invitation. It's almost like you can almost say that you're asking yourself. But it's not asking for an answer. It's like an invitation. Are you actually inviting yourself to receive when you ask a question? Because how often do you actually desire something but you never actually ask for it? So I've been doing this for a long time, right? Almost 7 years now, asking questions, dropping my conclusions and asking questions, asking for what I desire. And what I've noticed is that just by asking the question, it opens the space for me to receive. That's it. It's not about getting the answer or figuring out how. I mean, sometimes I do that because I get in my head. But if I'm asking, then it creates the space of openness to receive. So every day I'm asking for 10 million to show up. Where is it? Okay, Eleanor, we're going to talk about that when we come back from break. So you are listening to Messy Adventures in Living on the Inspired Choices Network. Today, we're talking about what will your choices create this year. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. We are talking about 2017 because today just happens to be January the 2nd. 2017, what will your choices create? So if you're listening and it's not anywhere close to January, you need to know that this show applies to every day of your life because guess what? The energy of a new year, a fresh start, a letting go of yesterday, you can have it every single day. You can have it in September, you can have it in October, you can have it in June, you can have it in July, you can have it in November, you can have it any time because the idea that having a fresh start at the beginning of the year is actually bullshit. It's something that we created. It's not exactly bullshit. It's actually kind of cool. I like that energy. It's wonderful. I love it. It's amazing. And I would like to have that every day. How about you? So there you go. That's something that I would like to choose this coming year. I would like to choose this energy. What would it take to have the energy of choice every day? The energy of clean slate, start over, let go of yesterday. What would it take to have that every day? Every minute, actually. What if you didn't even have to wait until tomorrow, right? You know, the just go to bed, tomorrow is a new day. No, that's not even good enough for me anymore. I don't even want to wait a day. If something is funky in my world, I'm not waiting until tomorrow. I can change it now. I can change it now. And this has been the gift of these tools, the gift of the access tools, is that I know that I can change anything any minute. I don't have to wait to go and lie down and have a Reiki session or something. I can choose that because it's awesome and I love it. And actually in Access we have a lot of hands-on body processes and one that's called bars that's amazing that can just delete your limitations so quickly. And I can choose that if I wish. And also, the power is in my own hands every second of the day. If I'm getting into a mind... Fuck. Sorry, the word's coming out a lot today. If I'm getting into my head and I'm in a funky space, I can ask questions. I can ask questions right now, in this second. I can change it now. I can let go of 10 seconds ago and have a new 10 seconds. You can too. You need to choose it. You don't have to wait until tomorrow or next year. So that's what we're talking about today. What will your choices create? And, what would you choose if you knew that you always had a new choice every 10 seconds, every 5 seconds, every second? What if you didn't have to be bound to your choices? We learn so much that choices have consequences, right? I have small kids, so I hear this all the time. You need to make the right choice because your choices could have consequences. If you have sex before you're married, you might get pregnant, and then, oh my God, that is just terrible because now there's a new child, and your choice now affected somebody else. You wrong, horrible person. So much judgment, right? So what do we learn about choice? How much of what we learn about choice when we're kids actually has enormous amounts of judgment attached to it, right? And same actually with New Year's resolutions. I'm sorry, guys, but New Year's resolutions has an enormous amount of judgment energy attached to it. I suck, so this year I'm going to be better, right? I sucked because I gained 50 pounds this year. So it's January, and I'm going to hit the gym, and I'm going to lose weight because last year I sucked, and this year I'm going to be awesome. So guess what? Guess what happens when you try to change something with judgment? It doesn't change. Judgment, if you're doing something from judgment, if you're trying to change something from judgment, it ain't changing. And actually, you're going to create more of that. So if you're trying to get skinny by judging yourself for being fat, chances are you're going to get fatter. And if you do lose weight, you're probably going to feel pretty crappy about yourself anyways. So, what if you didn't have to choose from judgment? So, okay, so just a comment in the chat room is hilarious. Packed up a hairball with the energy on that one. Okay, so why don't we clear some energy there? So everywhere all that energy of judgment that you learned, the choices, your choices are judgeable. Your choices are judgeable, and that when you make a choice, you better be careful because if you don't, you might do something judgeable. All the judgment that is connected to choice, and everywhere you learn that, and everywhere you're functioning from that, and everywhere that's, wrecking your life, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. What if your choices weren't judgeable? What if no choice you made was ever judgeable? No choice. None. Not even one of them. Not even that one. You know that one. That one you have, the one you're thinking about right now, that you're like, no, Petrina, but you don't understand. I did this, and it's so bad. I can't, how can I not judge that? Like, oh my God, that's bad. Like, okay, I understand all the other ones, but not this one. That one too. That one, yeah, that one. What if that choice is not judgeable? What could you create if you stop judging yourself for that? And everything that does not allow you to drop the judgment completely around every single choice you made, even the most incredibly horrifically judgeable choice that you made, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Oh, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. Yes, I am sure. What if no choice was ever judgeable, no matter how horrible you have decided it is, or no matter how horrible someone else has decided it is? Because if you drop the judgment, then you can choose something else, right? Would you like to choose something else? Okay, but you gotta drop the judgment first. Alrighty, so there was a question in the chat room. Okay, every day I'm asking for $10 billion to show up, so where is it? Okay, good. This is awesome. So what is the energy on this? What is the energy of this? People say this a lot. It's like, well, yeah, I asked for $10 million, but it's not showing up, right? It's like, haha, okay, universe, I want $10 million. See, it's not here. Very funny. Ask and receive doesn't work. So what is that? What is that energy? the of proving that you can't get it, proving that you can't get it right, or proving that this whole thing about asking and receive is not real. So whose voice is that telling you that? That I asked for $1 million and it's not showing up. See? Whose voices are those? And would you be willing to stop listening to them? Because let me tell you something. I just was talking about this with my family a little while ago. It's actually not hard to create $10 million. Okay? Really. It's really not. So I bought a bunch of board games for my family to play at Christmas time. And I bought a couple of them that are extremely popular right now. So one of them is called Pie Face Showdown. Have you heard of this? So let me tell you what this is, okay? Very popular. Very, very popular. Pie Face Showdown. It's a plastic contraption. Very cheaply made, by the way. Plastic contraption. You put your face on these little things. They remind me of, like, you know, when you go to the eye doctor and they want to look in your eyes, you put your chin on, you're sitting beside the other person, and there's a hand in the middle with a sponge on it, and you put some whipped cream there, and then you have a button, and the other person has a button, and you smack at your button really hard, and the other person smacks their button really hard, and as you're smacking your button, the hand goes in the other person's direction and eventually hits them in the face with the whipped cream. Okay? So whoever smacks the button the hardest the other person gets the whipped cream in the face. Really simple, right? It's like all you do is hit the button and get pie in the other person's face. That's it. This person, I'm sure, has $10 million in their pocket. All they did was invent this game where you try and hit the other person in the face with some whipped cream. Millionaire. Another one is called Watch Your Mouth. Have you seen this on YouTube? The guy, he puts like a retainer in his mouth and he tries to say phrases and then the other people try to guess it. It's hilarious. You like pee your pants. You practically pee your pants trying to play this game. It's awesome. It's hilarious. Millionaire. So actually, having $10 million is not hard. Okay? It's not. So everywhere you decided that $10 million is an atrocious amount of money, that how could you have it? Can you join and create all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, online choice, mailings. Because if you believe that you can't have it and then you ask for it, how is it going to show up? If you have the underlying belief that you can't have it. And also, like, what choices can you make? So is $10 million so out of your reality that you can't even fathom it? And if it is, would you be willing to ask for something less? So this is not settling, right? It's not that you're settling. It's like, okay, I don't believe I can actually have 10 million, so I'll ask for 1 million. But you know what? That's okay. Like, what if this is just a step to your 10 million? You know, get the energy of an amount of money that you actually know you can have, or that just feels light, or that just feels like you could. And then ask some questions like, how can I create this? What choices can I make to have this? Okay, so what else? So I looked up resolutions, you guys. I looked up the word resolution, and I looked up a bunch of other words, and what I found is fascinating. So I like to go to etymology online to find out the original meanings of words. It really gives you some hints at how the words were originally intended and the energy of the words, and how sometimes with some of them we've actually twisted the meaning a lot, and some of them we haven't. But what I have found in my exploration of certain words is that the energy of the word the energy of the original definition matches like this underlying energy of a word, even though we don't use it that way anymore. And it's really cool because it's like, well, when you use it, what is the underlying energy? And want, as just been mentioned in the chat room, is actually one of these words. So for example, want is the original meaning of the word want is to lack. And I think of this quote from the Bible, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Right? And so when you're using this word all the time, want, and the energy of it is to lack, what are you putting out there? What is the energy that you're putting out there? I want $1 million. I lack $1 million, right? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I want $1 million. Do you see how that energy matches? So when I looked up resolution, I found that it means a breaking up into parts, a process of reducing things into simpler forms. So in a sense of solving. So, a breaking to parts, a process of reducing things into simpler forms. So when we are making New Year's resolutions, how much are we actually, like, I get it, like breaking into parts in order to see it, like, okay, but how much are you actually separating yourself from it by resolving? The other thing I found was the power of holding firmly. So, when you hold on to something so firmly, can you change it? If you decide that you want to, you're going to go to the gym 3 days a week. You're going to be really specific with your goal. You're set your resolution to be 3 days a week, 4 days a week at the gym, and you've decided that this is the right thing to do, and that this is what your resolution is going to be, and you're holding on firmly to it. You're holding on firmly. You don't have the ability to have the awareness of something that might create something greater than 4 days a week, because you have now just completely limited yourself because you've decided that 4 days a week is the right amount of days to go to the gym. What if that's not right for your body? What if your body actually requires 3 days? What if going to the gym 3 days a week actually allows your body to lose weight faster? Just as an example. So this definition of resolution, of the power of holding firmly, does not allow for shifting and changing and having awareness of what's going to create, and asking questions and choosing something different and changing your choices and choosing every 10 seconds. If you're holding on to something firmly, can you choose every 10 seconds? No, you can't. So let's let go of resolutions and let go of choosing things firmly. And when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit more about this. So you are listening to Messy Adventures in Living. We're talking about 2017. What will your choices create? Right here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm Petrina Fava. If you're just joining us in the last, 15 minutes of the show, we have been talking about choice. And choice creates. So what will your choices create this year? It just happens to be at the beginning of the year, but if you're listening in the middle of the year, it totally applies, because guess what? New Year's, new energy, let go of yesterday energy is not just for January. It's for any month of the year. It's for any day of the week. It's for any hour of the day and every minute of the hour. You can choose every second. Every 10 seconds, every 5 seconds, you can always make a different choice. You don't have to wait to the beginning of the year to clear your slate. It's bullshit. It's a lie. Stop buying it. You don't have to wait. Why are you waiting? You can have choice any time. You can let go of yesterday anytime. You can choose something new anytime. Anytime. Ask some questions. Make some choices. Even if the choices are not perfect. Even if you don't exactly know what's going to get created. This is what Messy Adventures in Living is. Would you be willing to just make a messy choice? Just choose something, anything, even if you don't think it's the right choice. Right choice is a lie. There is no right choice or wrong choice. There's just choice. And even doing nothing is a choice. So, what would you like to have? And what can you choose that will create that? So, after I looked up resolution, I just want to get to this really quickly. I saw listed beneath it the word determined. Determined, right? Resolute, determined. Decided. Determined means limited. It means limited. It's from the 1600s. That is characterized by resolution from the 1600s. Determined means limited. So if you are determined in your resolutions, you are limiting yourself. You don't need to be determined. You can be tenacious. You can know what you know and know what you create and go after it with extreme tenacity. Yes, but watch that you're not doing the energy of determined. Because if you're determined to get something right, or if you're determined to achieve something, you are limiting yourself. You're closing yourself in a box. You know what you know. You know what you would like to choose. Ask for it. And be willing to receive it in any way. Because what your mind can conceive is limited. You can only think of so many things. Your mind can only think of so many possibilities. A question, however, can show you endless possibilities, not your mind. Your mind cannot show you endless possibilities. Your awareness opens you up to endless possibilities. So ask some questions. Know what you know. Hang on to that. I'm not saying throw your resolutions out the window. You know you can change something. You know you can create something greater. What questions can you ask that will allow you to see the possibilities, that will allow you to open yourself up to the possibilities, that will allow you, it's not really about seeing possibilities, because even seeing is a limitation, right? Even your eyes are a limitation. Even seeing with your brain is a limitation. Ask the question to be aware of the possibilities, and then choose something. Drop the right, drop the wrong, drop the lies that you bought of consequence. Just choose something. And then when you do that, you will see what your choice creates. And then you can go, I like this. I'm going to make another choice in this direction. Or you can go, that didn't really work so good. What else can I choose? What other choice can I make? Tap into the energy of what you desire, not the linearity of what you desire, right? So like when you're asking for $10 million, what is it? What's the energy of that? What would you do with $10 million? What could you create with $10 million? What could you be with $10 million? $10 million is awesome. I'll have some. But instead of like limiting yourself to the linearity of the money and the decimals and the bank account and the how am I going to make $10 million, if you really desire $10 million, tap into the energy of that. I would love to have $10 million to create with, to expand my business. But where am I limited? Of course, then there it is, right? So where have you limited your creations with money? And everything that is, we destroy and create all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine choice, boys and beyonds. Have you given the power over to money? Have you given the power to create over to money? It's not true. You can create. Your choices create something. So what can you choose? How many limitations have you placed on your creations? How many limitations have you placed on your choice? Choice is unlimited. Choice is unlimited. It's only limited by your mind because your mind can only conceive of what it already knows, what it's already learned. There's a million things out there that we don't know about. There are endless possibilities out there in the universe. Ask and then just shut up. Ask and shut up, but open your awareness and open yourself to what might be possible that you've never considered. So, what would you like to have? What can you choose that will create that? Thank you so much, you guys, for listening to Messy Adventures in Living today. Today is January the 2nd, but you can have this energy any day of the year. Thank you for joining me. Join me again next week. We'll go on more messy adventures together. Goodbye!
Thanks for playing with us on Messy Adventures in Living. Petrina Fava will return next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, and 8 a.m. Pacific on Inspired Choices Network. We'd love to have you join us again. Until next time, have fun creating your phenomenal life. Mess